Hi, I'm Chrane. There's this whole system in Digimon Story Time Stranger called the personality system, right? You needed to digivolve some Digimon, you needed to DNA digivolve some Digimon. There might even be instances where you needed to normally digivolve Digimon that I haven't seen yet, that I don't know. So sometimes you need to change the personality type of the Digimon in your party to reach the Digimon you're after. So how do you do that? Well, talking to them might seem like the obvious choice. However, it's so slow in comparison to how you could do it. So let me actually show you how I do it. You will reach a point in the game where you will start seeing these glowing light beams that will turn into giant doorways. When you reach this point, it happens fairly early. You can go into a place called the In-Between Theater and use the digifarm. That's when you should actually start working on personalities. If you do it before that, you're basically just wasting time. So when you get to the theater, you're gonna talk to Mirai over here and check out the digifarm. When you're in here, right, it looks a bit different from the digifarm in Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, if you're familiar with those. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Move Digimon, and then currently, let's say we're trying to, digivolve Angewomon and LadyDevimon into Mastemon. But we need two specific personalities. Angewomon needs to be tolerant, and LadyDevimon requires enlightened. And as you can see, both of them are red, and neither of them is fitting the correct personality type. So how do we get there? When you're in the farm, you click Move Digimon, and we put Angewomon in there. Doesn't matter really where we put her. Same with LadyDevimon, we put her in there. Then we go to Interact with Digimon in Farm. Have the two of them down here. Now, they do require stats to evolve into, future Digimon, but they also need the personality. So in here, you have a bunch of training sets, okay? In training, you have a bunch of training sets, which, as you can see down here, will tell you the stat they improve, but it will also tell you which personality it will shift towards. So down here, you will have a thing called Check Personality, right? Depending on what kind of controller or keyboard you're using, you click that button for Check Personality, and you get a whole grid. So you can see the yellow thing here will show you where you will go on the board, the direction you will travel, depending on which training set you pick. The plus sign is where you're at. Now, the plus sign might seem unnecessary since, well, it just goes to the right, so it should just shift from Enlightened to Sly, right? Well, different training sets have different effects. So this one, if I boost attack, it shifts personality towards Heart and Affection, meaning the plus sign will go in this direction. It will go in both of these directions. So you can move in all, you can move in 8 directions on the board, depending on what type of training you're doing. Now you can unlock harder training programs by talking to a blacksmith in the first bright town you get to. I'm not going to say any more than that. You're very easily going to figure it out. He's standing there hammering in the middle of town. You're going to notice him. He sells you the ability to craft future training sets, which give more, like you can see here. We have a Classroom A, which is the base ones you get for all the stats and personalities. It boosts int and shifts personality towards understanding and companionship. But if I pick up a Classroom B, it instead says greatly boosts int and greatly shifts personality. So you're gonna want the higher classrooms to shift even further, faster on the grid. But let's just try a normal one, right? We have a here, and we need to get Angewomon from Enlightened up to Tolerant. So we need to travel north. We have one that only does north? We do. Now this is a training room B, so it's going to be slightly faster. But this, since it's like up and left, it's going to shift us this way. But that's fine because that will still land us in tolerant. It's not going to land us in like strategic or something because that's the complete opposite direction. We will travel northwest. So if we do that, use that program. Now up here, there will be a timer that says this is how long it's going to take to complete the program. However, if you click quick complete training, you can pay 10,000 yen to finish it instantly. And honestly, do that. It's so much easier. Now, personality has changed from enlightened to tolerant, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted for her. And she gets a new personality skill because she moves. This is a whole different thing. We don't really, like, you can read these and see which one sounds better to you. I'm not going to dive that deep into it. So if you go back to training, we check personality. She is now intolerant. The plus sign is on the bottom left of tolerant, but she is in that quadrant. So she's done. She's finished. We did it. That's how quickly we shifted her personality. Imagine how many times you have to talk to her to get to this point. We skipped so much stuff by just doing that. So now we shift our focus over to LadyDevimon. What's her situation like? She needs to get to enlightened, but she's all the way over in strategic. So she has a bit of a further way to travel here. And to do that, we're going to find one that sends us, again, northwest in this case. And that's, again, SPI. So that's going to send us in this direction. So let's try it and see how it works. Quick complete, yes. Her personality shifted to astute, which is not what we're after. However, no, I want to keep that. If we check again, we are now all the way over here. We went from here to here. So at least we're moving somewhat in the correct direction. Now we just need to go up. And honestly, we could just use this one again. Probably easier because there's nothing to the left, so there's no fear of traveling into, like, more difficult areas, you know? But let's say, just for example, maybe you want brave or daring, then yeah, just spam this one. Spam attack because it takes you northeast. You know, so eventually you're gonna get all the way up here. But for her, we're once again using T-Room B to get north and west because there's nothing to the west. So we're just gonna be traveling up to where she needs to be. We're completing the training immediately. And she is now enlightened. Look at that. So if we look at this, we're once again where we want to be, which is great. So now if we click the start button on the console, and we leave the digifarm, we check on our Digimon and their digivolution situation. We go to Mastemon and they're both in the green. Angewomon's personality is tolerant, LadyDevimon's personality is enlightened, and now I just need to rank up my agents to get there. But they're done. Like, I don't need anything more. When it's a DNA digivolution, usually there's no stat requirement either, so you just need the personality, which is so nice. You can use this way to boost stats as well. I would advise doing stats first and then personality, if that's the case, because those training programs, as you saw, also increases stats. But it doesn't add stats in here, it adds them here. Like, you're not getting any blue stats from doing that. You're getting base stat increases, which is insane. And then when you're shifting personality, you have this system going on here. Because we're at number 3 on her, right? Tolerant, which boosts SPI and SP. So if you shift personality, your stats are going to change all the time, which is why you should focus on doing stats first. Do the stats first, evolve it to what you want it to digivolve into, and then do the personality, if the personality is not a requirement for the digivolution. That's a whole different thing. If people want to see how I do stats farming in the digifarm to evolve, do tell me. I can do that. That's absolutely something that I can add to the list. But As for personality farming, that's it. It's that easy. It's not difficult. But if you're wasting your time doing all of the talking, you're basically just wasting time and energy. Like, you saw how fast that was. Now, you could be further away on the board, but that adds like, what, 30, 60 seconds to doing this? Like, you can do it. I believe in you. You have the power in the palm of your hand. You can do it. I believe in you. Okay. That's all, really. That's all you really need to know about personality changing in this game. It's not that complicated once it gets down to it. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will do my best to help you if there's anything else that you are wondering about. Yeah. I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.